Good afternoon and welcome to our daily COVID-19 update for the town of Plymouth. I'm Steve Triffletti, your Plymouth Town Moderator. I'll be here each day, Monday through Saturday at noon for this update. This forum is being brought to you live by PAC TV on Comcast channels 13 and 15 and Verizon channels 43 and 47. You can also watch this on PAC TV's streaming channel by going to pactv.org/live. For questions during today's forum, please email us at plymouthinfo@pactv.org. And these forums can be replayed at pactv.org/Plymouth. Since our broadcast yesterday at noon, it was announced that it is recommended that when we are outside that people be wearing masks or some type of cloth. And I wanted to say that on Tuesday we're going to have the chairperson of the Board of Health, as well as our Town of Plymouth Public Health Director. But I wanted you to know that in the PAC TV studio, in case you're not familiar with it, we have cameras with no one behind the cameras. We're alone in the studio. The production area is in a separate room. There's a glass separating us, and I'm alone in the studio along with the executive director, who is 6 feet away. She's wearing a mask. I brought a mask. I was out this morning with my mask. Wasn't quite sure. Most of the people in the store where I visited early with the senior hours weren't wearing anything. I didn't have a bandana. I brought a handkerchief, and I also brought a scarf just to try to figure out what would be the best type of material to be wearing. And I'm hopeful that in the next few days we'll get some suggestions for people in Plymouth, because at least this morning my own observations were that most people were not voluntarily wearing something in public. Today's lineup includes Selectman Chair Kenneth Tavares, and he and Matt Muratore and I are joined by Michael Jackman, and he is a staff person from Congressman Keating's office, and also Michelle Bratti, who is the Director of Elder Services for the town of Plymouth. We're now going to begin our forum, as we do each day, by welcoming Kenneth Tavares, Chair of the Board of Selectmen, for his opening statement. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. I was thinking as we were getting ready for the show today that if we were in a normal environment, today would have been town meeting, and we'd probably be breaking for lunch about this time. It is amazing the changes that we have adapted to in the last 30 days, but keep up the good work, Plymouth. I want to inform you that the Board of Selectmen will next meet on April 14th at 1:30. We will be at PAC TV, and I can't thank them enough, because without the great staff at PAC and their facilities, we would really be unable to bring you programs. One of the items that's going to be on the docket at that time is to accommodate the request of the town clerk, and that is to move the town election to June 20th. That is a change that I know will probably be met overwhelmingly with approval by the Board of Selectmen. Steve mentioned, got ahead of me, mentioned a mask. I have mine. I haven't been outside yet. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but there is certainly some great information on CNN and on YouTube, how even if you don't have a sewing machine and know how to sew, which would be me, you're able to put something together, and it's recommended strongly that we do that going outside. I'm going to just remind you of some things we've talked about all week. I know it gets tiresome hearing the same thing at the same time, but we need to stay at home. We need to maintain that distance. And above all, we need to check on one another. Calls that are being made, whether someone is a few houses down or in another state, are comforting. Your voice is powerful, and please try to use that over the weekend. So once again, we're rounding down another week. We have done well. We need to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. That is Kenneth Tavares. He is the chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. And as we've said throughout the 17 forums that we've had in the past few weeks, These are an effort to bring you together with local officials and experts who are helping us respond to COVID-19. Ken mentioned town meeting. It was supposed to be at 8 o'clock this morning. I did not have to be there with the clerk to postpone it because of the declaration that I issued earlier this week, which moved town meeting, at least for the time being, to May 30th, 2020, and we'll continue to review it. However, I was in a virtual town meeting this morning at 9 o'clock with about 30 other moderators from throughout Massachusetts, and we got together in a Zoom virtual meeting in order to share ideas about how to go forward to have a safe town meeting this year. And there was discussion about social distancing and whether or not a football field marked off with 6-foot lines or a gym where people 6 feet apart in bleachers would make sense, or whether or not to go to a virtual town meeting, which would probably need enabling legislation. And following that 2-hour meeting with moderators, I quickly contacted town officials as well as Representative Matthew Muratore to begin to organize some planning this week for the way in which town meeting will roll out once we decide to go forward with a town meeting. You'll be receiving more information about that. But again, for you to understand that just as today we have local, state, and federal officials participating in this forum, so too throughout the state, people are networking in order to try to come up with the safest way in which we can continue to conduct our business. And with that, we're going to move on to our federal representative. We're delighted to have Michael Jackman, and he is a staff person at Congressman Keating's office. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, and thanks to PAC TV for doing these forums every day. They've been very informative for us, working remotely as we are to find out what's going on with the town of Plymouth. I guess the biggest message is just that our offices are open. We are available to help and to provide services as best we can remotely. The physical offices are closed due to the stay-at-home advisories. But people can reach us through our website at keating.house.gov. And they can also call the Plymouth office, which is 508-746-9000. We're fielding calls, we're fielding emails, we're getting back to people with information as best we can. But I do want to let people know that our staff is available in all of our offices, including the Plymouth office. I think the biggest thing I want to talk about is the CARES Act, which was the $2.5 trillion Coronavirus Relief Act that Congress passed and was signed into law, I guess was Friday, the last Friday in March, about 8 days ago now. And it's a huge bill. There's a lot of different moving parts to it, obviously. And we've been working all week with agencies, federal government agencies, to get information to people about how they can benefit from this Relief Act. The big thing we're getting questions about, obviously, are the stimulus checks, the rebates that people can expect. Those will start roughly April 13th, I believe, is the date that they'll be going out. One of the questions we had from a lot of constituents are folks who are Social Security recipients. Often they do not have to file a tax return because of the their income level through their Social Security benefit. Initially, the guidance that we were getting from the Treasury Department was that those people would have to file a short form tax return online in order to be able to eligible to receive that rebate check. And through our delegation, Congressman Keating, and led by Congressman Richard Neal from Springfield, he's the House Ways and Means chair, was able to get the Treasury to change that guidance so that the Treasury Department can use the information that they have about beneficiaries, Social Security recipients, and just use that information to get the rebates out to folks. Every year Social Security issues a 1099 for Social Security beneficiaries, often because the income level is lower than under the threshold. they don't have to file an income tax return. But folks who are Social Security recipients do not have to do anything. They will be getting a check. One thing that people should know is the checks will be going out by direct deposit. I guess that's an oxymoron. The benefits will be going out, the rebates will be going out by direct deposit first. So if you already have a direct deposit account information with either the IRS or Social Security, then you will get those checks first. We are being told by IRS that if you do not have direct deposit account information on hand with the IRS or with Social Security, there will be a method for you to submit that online. But we're waiting to hear how that's going to work and what the methodology will be for that. So please stay tuned for that. We'll try to get information out through the Congressman's office and the Facebook page. Another question we're getting a lot is from veterans. A lot of veterans who receive pensions from the VA, currently, again, because of their income level, they're not required to fill out a tax return. The way the guidance is currently, those veterans would have to fill out a short form tax return to the IRS to be eligible. But we are working on that. There's been communications between our office, a lot of members of Congress, including the delegation, the Veterans Committee, to get that guidance updated. So again, stay tuned on that. Another piece that we're getting a lot of questions about is the Small Business Administration loans, the payroll protection programs, economic injury disaster loans. A lot of those are being rolled out over the last week, and there have been changes every day to that. The best advice we can give as we're learning more is to work with your local lenders, especially that payroll protection program where I know Amy has talked about it, and I think Heather Cosby was on earlier this week to talk about it. The best advice is to work with your local lender, find out what system and process they've set up to apply for that funding. It can cover your payroll for up, I think, until June 30th. So more information about that will be coming through. Getting a lot of calls about unemployment. The CARES Act, one of the other provisions was that folks who are self-employed, independent contractors, gig economy workers would be eligible for unemployment benefits. That it was passed in the law, the states would be eligible to cover those workers through their state unemployment programs. The state does implement unemployment here in Massachusetts. They are waiting on guidance again from the Department of Labor to figure out how to incorporate those folks into their unemployment assistance plan. It's not something that the state is set up to do, quite frankly, because they've never done it before. But they are working on that. We're in touch with the Department of Labor, urging them to get that guidance out. I think they might have sent something out yesterday. Still waiting to get an update on that from the State Department of Unemployment Assistance. I will say we've been working with the governor's office. We've been working obviously with the state reps like Matt and the rest of our delegation, state senators as well, to share information. When we find out stuff that's happening on the federal level, we share that with them, and folks on the state level and the local level like Ken and the town manager and the town of Plymouth, we're sharing information too. So it is really, it's important to have those relationships and leverage those relationships now to make sure that we're all using the most accurate information and, taking advantage of programs and benefits that are out there. One last thing I want to mention, I know I've gone on a little bit long, but I know you've had some questions, Steve, about the census.
Yes.
Folks are wondering how the census is going to run this year. I think traditionally people think of the census and they think of someone coming and knocking on their door and asking, how many people live here, that type of thing. But that obviously is going to be a challenge this year because of the current situation. It's important to know that you can file your census online. You can do it by mail, and you can get information by phone. I think you can actually even file by phone. The number to call the Census Department is 844-330-2020. Or you can go online, my2020census.gov. So my2020 census.gov. If you you should have received, a lot of people did receive either a postcard that they could go online and fill it out. I did it. It took me 5 minutes to do it about a week and a half ago. Or for some folks who maybe if, they're in a lower response area, they would have got a paper form to fill out and submit back to the census. All the data in the census is private. There's no citizenship question. I know there's a lot of speculation that the current administration would include a citizenship question, but there is no citizenship question on the census. And it's really important to mention why the census is so important. A lot depends on that census being as fully counted as possible. The people in Massachusetts, Plymouth, the South Shore, our district, we want to count as many people as possible because the redistricting will depend on that. After the census is done, the state of Massachusetts will be told that they have enough population for a certain number of congressional representatives. When Bill was first elected, we had 10 representatives. In fact, our district was the 10th district. But after the 2010 census, we went down to 9. That's why we're the 9th district now. So it's very important for everyone to fill out the census. It's for residents of Massachusetts. It's counting residents, not citizens. Federal funds depend on the census. Plymouth gets community development block grants. We get education grants, grants for elder services that the senior center uses. Sorry, Center for Active Living. So it's very important to count everyone. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, the number for our office in Plymouth is 508-746-9000, or you can get in touch with us at keating.house.gov. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, and that's Michael Jackman. He is with Senator Keating's office, and as he mentioned, the census is very important. The Plymouth Area League of Women Voters reminds us that it's important to submit your census forms as soon as possible, and that would decrease the need for door-to-door reminders. We also want to remind everybody that the data is private, and again, you can go to my2020census.gov as well as by the mail, as he said, and we're going to be continuing and taking your questions at PlymouthInfo@pactv.org. That's PlymouthInfo@pactv.org. We welcome back to today's presentation Michelle Bratti. She is the Director of Elder Affairs. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. Thank you for having me again. Hello to the panel. Just an update in terms of just checking in regards to what was just discussed. I think it's important to note we should talk about scams a little bit, especially with the stimulus check that we were just speaking about. Nobody from the government is going to call you and ask you for private personal information. If there is a situation that they need some information, as was just discussed, as Mike said, we will roll out, I'm sure they will roll out the format in which that's going to happen. But I don't want any, particularly seniors, scammers tend to target our senior population. And we want to make sure that if you get a phone call and someone on the other end says, in order for you to receive this check or anything, give me your name, your social security number, identifying information, bank accounts, please don't do it. And if you have any doubt or any questions, you call us 508-830-4230, and we will help you determine whether it was a scam or something legitimate. It's really important, especially in times like this, that you're not taken advantage of. So that's just something on scams, and we'll be distributing more information as we go on our Facebook page and through our social media. Just an update, just wanted to let you know what's going on in the community. We continue to do a ton of outreach to our seniors. We did start this month. I'll start on a fun high note. We have staff members that are calling every member of the Center for Active Living. There's over 10,000 of them, and wishing them a happy birthday. If it's their birthday, they need to hear that. One individual forgot it was their birthday. So when they got the call and the singing, which I have no bets on how good that is, but we are singing. it was really good for them to hear, and just it's another connection. And I think those outreach connections are the things that are sustaining our senior population the most. And we will not stop. We will continue to do that as boldly as we can and as often as we can. Just want to go over a few things in terms of some outreach and community things. We continue to do Meals on Wheels. That's obviously a big program in Plymouth. I do know that we are, as we mentioned in the beginning, we're talking about PPE, which is personal protection equipment. That's the buzzword now. And what that means, the masks and the gloves. And there are more and more recommendations that these are important. And we need to wear these and we need to have this information. So I know we're working, our town manager looks very carefully at making sure that everyone is protected, from staff to volunteers to seniors. It's our biggest priority. We are working with Old Colony Elder Services, who does the Meals on Wheels program, and the town, to basically determine how we can implement the necessary practices to ensure that there's optimal health for everybody. We're looking to get PPE equipment. We're looking to make sure that if we're going to run this program, continue to run this program, that we not only do it well, which we do, but we do it safely. So we'll continue to evolve and develop as our situation does. Great week though. Just Friday, 199 meals. That's a record for us. So that's pretty impressive. Other outreach though, which is equally as impressive. Nathan Hale Veterans Outreach Center, 116 Long Pond Road. Christopher and Diane Hart run that. They reached out to me. I reached out to them. We had a great conversation. They have fresh fruit. They have all kinds of food supplies. I had a 90-year-old World War II veteran call me and say, what are you doing for me lately? And I said, well, what do you need? And we had a volunteer that day go to that 116 Long Pond Road, grab him a bunch of things, transport it down. And he was a tough cookie to please, but he definitely was excited by that. So Nathan Hale Veterans Outreach Center, open to anybody. They are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 10 to 12. They have volunteers there in full PPE, ready to serve if the public needs some food. Also, non-perishable food boxes. We have distributed successfully what we created the senior box to patrons and just the community in need. Kind of looked at some items that might be prevalent for our senior population, and those were sent out Friday, and there were, I don't know the number, but a lot. We have a list that we are still taking names for. It's a non-perishable food box. If you need or want that, you call April or Todd at my office. Again, 508-830-4230. That is run through South Shore Community Action Council and the school. I have to give a plug to Lisa Adams and Laura Wilson, who have been phenomenal and instrumental in making sure that those boxes arrive at my seniors' doorsteps. Excellent. Another great program, and our town manager did write about this morning. Plain Jane's is a sandwich shop at our local airport. Great food. I'm a frequent flyer. So there's a gentleman named Mark Hansen who has a plane at that airport, and he volunteers in his real world job to fly medical patients, mostly cancer patients, wherever they need to go for appointments. He does this absolutely free of charge. We've connected, and he is going to, in conjunction with Plain Jane's, be making sandwiches for our Meals on Wheels volunteer drivers, just as a gesture to say thank you for everything that you're doing. And it's community kindness such as that really does make our town the best town. Also, if you have, any seniors needing help, call us, please. We will help you. If we don't know the answer, we will find the resource for you. We know these are scary times. We know that these are not easy times, but you are not alone. We are right here, and we will continue to be here. I know that many of you do know that I do an every other night or evening phone call just to all of our patrons to say hello, try to give some uplifting words, and try to keep you informed about what's going on from our town manager, from our town and CDC, or anything with, of course, coronavirus. Those calls always used to come from a Somerville number or a Cambridge number, and also showed up as spam at times. I'm happy to say, and I have to test it tonight, so give me a chance, but we have upgraded our system, and the phone calls that we make to you should be coming in as our Center for Active Living phone number now. So you don't have to worry or question if it's a legitimate number, if is it really going to be me on the other end. You'll see that it is. So I'm really pleased that we can reach more people that way. And that's where we're at so far.
Thank you. And that's Michelle Bratti, and she is the Director of Elder Affairs in the town of Plymouth. And as we go to our next participant, Representative Matthew Muratore, I saw you smiling when she was talking about singing, and I know that you work closely with seniors in our community. So are you volunteering to doing some singing now, Matt Muratore?
No, thank you at all. But no, it just warms my heart to hear the things that Michelle is doing for our seniors. Those phone calls every other night are terrific. Just the touch that you are giving, Michelle. We are so grateful to have you and your staff leading this community and leading our seniors. So we thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And Mike Jackman, I want to thank Mike too publicly too. Mike has not just during this crisis, but for the last 6 years that I've been in, has been very, very instrumental in helping our community with any federal questions. Myself and my Director of Legislative Affairs, Betty DeBenedictis, he's been absolutely fantastic to work with, very responsive. And as we're talking now, I've got somebody that texted me about a CARE Act question that I will get over to Mike after this show. But it's great to have a partner at the federal level that works so well with us. So thank you, Mike, for what you've been doing as well. Let me start with the numbers for today. That as of 24 hours ago, April 3rd at 12:30, we have now tested 62,962, almost 63,000 people. A little over 10,000 have been tested positive, which is 16.5%. Of those, about 9% are hospitalized, a little under 1,000, 966. And keeping in mind that the population of 7 million people in the Commonwealth, the amount of people that have tested positive is under 1%, well under 1%. The deaths are climbing. This is the highest total in one-day jump to 192 deaths total now. Again, which is a little under 2% of the folks that are contacting the virus. In Plymouth County, we have 745 as of noontime on April 3rd. And in Plymouth, we have 41 cases of the coronavirus. I'm not going to go through the numbers by age group. I've done that in the past, and I'll probably do it again on Monday. But just looking at them quickly, the age groups that break down every 10 years, starting at the age of 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and going forward, it's staggering how it looks that so similar. And somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 people in each of those categories have contacted the virus. I have trouble saying that. So the numbers are climbing, and we know that by looking at the models that have been put out there. The governor talked about this a couple days ago, that we're looking at somewhere between 47,000 and 172,000 people that will contract this virus, contract this virus. So we are in the surge now. The numbers will continue to climb fast and furious over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So it's not a surprise. So everything everyone has been saying, stay inside, wear a mask outside if you have to go to the grocery store. But please heed the advice of the healthcare professionals and what they're doing. In long-term care, there is talking about seniors, There are now 382 cases in long-term care facilities, which include nursing facilities, assisted livings, and rest homes. There are about 6,000 of these residents. Of those almost 700 facilities combined, 82 facilities are now affected by that. And again, that number is going to climb as well drastically. They are doing some National Guard testing. National Guard is out testing at facilities in a lot of areas, particularly the high areas, so we can get a better idea of where our seniors are at. They're also looking at moving populations of seniors out of facilities into other facilities that were closed facilities. They'll be opened back up to try to contain it some more too. So more to come on that. Yesterday, on April 3rd, the governor announced a partnership with the Department of Public Health and the Executive Office of Elder Affairs with a private company called Partners in Health. And this will be looking at the tracing of the virus. And this is, it's important for us to understand the full risk of the transmission. So by actually doing the tracing of all this, of when somebody got the virus and tracing it all back, will help us in the long run. This will be ramped up over the next 3 or 4 weeks, but in the long run, this will be good information for us to know as healthcare providers in the Commonwealth. And this is the first of the nation doing this, so it's good to see that that's going to be happening. Trying to be proactive for when this virus does and the curve does start flattening down. Also, my daily plea for blood. The Red Cross is in desperate need of blood. We need those donations. If you have a facility that you can actually open up and have a blood mobile drive, please contact the redcross.org to get that information and get those blood drives going. Right when we came on the air, I got noticed that the July bar exam for those that are taking the bar exam who want to become lawyers has been postponed. That will now be scheduled for September 30th and October 1st. Also, I just got, when we came on air, sexual and domestic violence services are still available through Jane Doe Inc. And if you're experiencing any of these, please call 877-785-2020. It's 24 hours availability. So again, if you experience any sexual domestic violence issues, please call 877-785-2020. And finally, I've got a lot of emails on this morning. Yes, the beer and wine, this seems to be important to a lot of people. The beer and wine license was signed by the governor yesterday afternoon after we got off air. So if you get a meal in any restaurant in Massachusetts, I believe it's a bottle, they can provide a bottle of wine, and I think it's a 6-pack of beer or something like that to provide with your meal. So that is in place. So enjoy.
Thank you. Representative Matthew Muratore from the town of Plymouth. You can send your questions to all of our panel to plymouthinfo@pactv.org. And Representative Muratore did mention about the availability of counseling for domestic violence. A few weeks ago, we had the Register of Plymouth County Probate Court, Matthew McDonough, and he did tell us that although the courthouses are closed to the public, they are still doing hearings for emergencies that would include petitions for protection orders for people who are victims of domestic violence. And I would further let you know that we expect that this Thursday we'll be joined by Adam Baylor. He is the clerk magistrate for the Plymouth District Court, and the Plymouth District Court also hears emergency hearings for domestic violence. In addition, he mentioned blood donations. Yesterday, the local hospital, Beth Israel Deaconess in Plymouth, also advised us that they are open for blood draws at the blood draw station on Long Pond Road, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 3:30. It is by appointment only, and to schedule an appointment, you call 508-830-2466. We'll be continuing our daily updates on Monday, at which time we'll be joined by Lynn Barrett. She is the Director of Finance for the town of Plymouth. There are a lot of questions about financial issues with the town now that town meeting has been postponed. and Ken Tavares and Matt Muratore and I will also be joined by Amy Naples, the Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, as we continue with our business updates. I would also like to let you know that this Monday we're having a special regional update, and we'll be joined by 3 legislators, Matt Muratore, Kathy Lenatra, and Josh Cutler. And in addition, we'll be having a number of medical experts, Dr. Mark Wilson, who is from the Michigan School of Public Health, Department of Epidemiology, Philip Triffletti, he is an attending primary care physician at Beth Israel Deaconess, Russell Fry, who is a psychologist, and will be joined by Father John Cullity from the St. Mary's and St. Joseph Collaborative. And that'll be on Monday at 1:30 p.m., which will shortly follow our Plymouth update on Monday at noon. And at this time, we're going to be going to our question and answer. You can also have your question answered by contacting us at plymouthinfo@pactv.org. We're going to go back to our first panel member, Michael, and whether or not you can answer this or possibly Matt. It's a Medicaid question. And the question is, the viewer has a Medicaid limit of $2,000 for assets. What if this stimulus check arrives and causes the viewer to exceed the $2,000 limit? Mike.
Yeah, that's a great question. I know a lot of folks are wondering about how the stimulus benefit is going to be affecting their income tax for 2020. The Medicaid question is a really good one. I don't know, Matt, if you've had this question. We can certainly find out. Mass Health has been very good with information too. So if someone wants to reach out to our office or maybe to Matt's office, we can Representative Muratore's office, we can certainly try to get that information.
Thank you. And we'll be coming back to Matt also in a minute. Going to Michelle. Michelle, the viewer asks, when the Center of Active Living reopens, will tax information continue to be a program that'll be offered to people who go to the Center for Active Living? And the viewer also said she's looking forward to her birthday message.
Well, we will look forward to singing to her. And I'm sorry, Steve, you cut out a little. What program was she asking
The
about?
tax information program.
Yes, so the tax program is run through AARP at our center. And if AARP agrees to come back whenever that may be, if they have the staffing, the volunteer staffing, to provide that service to us, we will welcome them back. But we're not sure yet at this time if AARP can commit to any later date. They're willing to work with us though, so stay tuned. We'll try to get answers on that.
Thank you. That's Michelle Bratti. She's the Director of Elder Affairs in the town of Plymouth. And next we're going to go back to Representative Matthew Muratore. Matt, 2 of our viewers asked an MCAS question. What's the status? Will it be eliminated? Will it be a graduation requirement? We had Dr. Christopher Campbell on yesterday from the Plymouth Public Schools, but that's a state issue. Can you respond?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Steve. Let me first talk about the Mass Health $2,000 limit. We will check on it from our office as well, Mike, so don't worry about that. And we'll get an answer on the show on Monday for people. But if people want to reach out to me directly, have questions, it's Matthew with 1t.muratore@mahouse.gov. But usually with Mass Health and the $2,000 limit, if you're in a nursing facility and you get some extra money, you just have to spend it down. So I don't think it's going to be a problem, but we will find out. With regard to the MCAS, Steve, Representative Lenatra, Kathy Lenatra, and myself spoke to the local teachers union, the MTA, a couple days ago, and this is one of many issues that they brought up. The House passed a version of the MCAS that basically said on, I think it was yesterday, probably yesterday or Thursday, the days are running together, that indicates that the Commissioner of Education will be able to decide the fate of what when MCAS are going to what's going to happen with MCAS if and when the students go back to school. And there's some other language in there as well. Well, what I'm cautioning people is, and the teachers, and I know the MTA has sent out information It almost makes it sound like this is actually the bill. It's not. This is just a bill the House passed. Now it goes to the Senate. The Senate is most likely going to have something totally different. My guess is that the Senate will have something that will actually cancel MCAS. I know on the House side, there's many of us, including myself and Representative Muratore, that feel that the MCAS should be canceled already for this year and not have to have that as something that the children need to worry about, students need to worry about coming back, or the teachers should need to worry about. My kids are home learning this week through virtual, through their classrooms, and that should just continue over the next several weeks until we get back to school. So I caution everyone, no need to send emails about it. The final version is not done, not even close to being done. But if they are concerned, if teachers are concerned, they should contact their local senators. In our area, we don't have one because the election's been delayed. But Pat O'Connor is our legislator that's the closest one, that's a senator, and make your feelings known to him. But stay tuned for that.
Thank you. And another question for Representative Matthew Muratore. And the viewer asks, what about remote notaries? Now, I know you and I communicated earlier this morning in connection with the legislation that came on House Bill 4598, and that was dropped. And but this viewer asks, as a part of the MCAS email question, what about notaries? Matt.
Yeah, was that question from you, Steve?
Actually, no. It was from Russell. I won't say his last name, but Russell sent the question.
So the notary was pulled out of that bill from yesterday that the governor signed prior to obviously him signing it because it was controversial with Sallie Mae and Freddie Mac. Sallie Mae and Freddie Mac did not like the language in there, so they took it out so not to hold up this municipality bill that went through yesterday. But that is still being looked at and trying to figure out some language that will satisfy Freddie Mac and Sallie Mae.
Thank you. That was Representative Matthew Muratore. Each day, in addition to our question and answer, we go back through the panel. They've all had an opportunity to hear from each other and the responses from the participants in the panel. And the reason we do this is we want to give you verified information from elected officials, from experts and people who can give you information that is accurate, is not based on rumor. And with that, we're going to go back to our federal representative, which is Michael Jackman, and he is a staff member with Congressman Keating. Mike, what would you like people to remember as a takeaway from today's message?
Well, Steve, again, just thank you for the opportunity to be on here. I've been a regular viewer, as I said, and it's great information. I guess my last thought is not so much an official statement, if you will, but I one of the things I like to do to try to keep my sanity is to go for a walk every day. And I would just caution folks who are walking or jogging or even driving, especially the drivers, to look out for folks who are out walking their dog, trying to go outside and to enjoy the weather. Now that it's a little bit nicer today. People need that sort of pressure valve to try to keep their sanity, if you will. So just be cautious on the roads and look out for people who are walking and running. And in speaking of mental health, there are great resources available to folks in Plymouth. The Interface program through the Plymouth schools is available to all Plymouth residents. So if you are seeking mental health resources, Interface, which I know PAC TV has a PSA about that, usually comes on right before the show, as a matter of fact. So there are resources available. Our office, again, is we are available to provide services, answer questions, get resolution to case matters when we can. 508-746-9000 is the best way to reach us. And thank you again for doing this.
Thank you. That's Michael Jackman. He is on staff with Congressman Keating. And Mike will be joining us each and every Wednesday on our daily update. And we thank him and Congressman Keating's office for the participation as we continue to try to communicate first among the local, state, and federal officials and also with our greater Plymouth community. This is held daily, Monday through Saturday, and the date is recorded on the screen. Today is Saturday, April 4th. We're doing this live from PAC TV studios, and we begin at the noon hour. We're now going to continue and go back to Michelle Bratti, Director of Elder Services. Michelle, your final thoughts today.
Thank you, Steve. Again, thank you for having me. My final thoughts kind of echo what I've been saying all along, and I think Ken started with talking about masking and talking about, where we're going. We know that these are unprecedented times. We know that there's a lot of uncertainty out there. That is true for all of us. But we also know that what our job is, we're here to help. That's not going to change, and that's not going to change who we are as people and as town members that are here to serve you. So we know how to do that. If we don't have answers, we'll find them. We're going to be here for you. This is how the community comes together. This is how we do what we do well. So depend on us, turn to us. We are all here. And I've had so many calls of people from this community that are asking me how they can help volunteer. First and foremost, thank you for those calls. Thank you for those offers. They're heartwarming, they're uplifting, and it really does make us want to do better. But secondly, what you can do for me and for seniors in this town to volunteer is to volunteer to stay home, because you may just save a life by doing so. That is the greatest gift you can give a senior in this town, is to adhere to those social distancing policies and to just kind of self-quarantine. Go out, obviously, when necessary, but when it's not necessary, you are doing a greater service and you are truly helping our seniors, particularly, and each other, but particularly our seniors, when you take it seriously. So I'm going to thank you in advance for your volunteerism, because that is the best thing you can do for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's Michelle Bratti, Director of Elder Affairs, and we're all spending more time at home than we have prior to this advisory. And at this time, we get a state advisory, we get a state of the state, a closing statement each day from Representative Matthew Muratore. Matt.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve, and thank you to the panelists, and again to PAC TV, and again, we can't thank enough our essential workers that are out there. My daughter went to work today. She works at Rose and Vicky's, and she had her hat on, her uniform, and went to Mary Lou's to get a coffee before she started, and they gave her a free coffee because she was seen as an essential worker, and they thanked her for it. So it's really good people out there doing some good things. It is the healthcare workers, the first responders, the people that are working in the restaurant industry, the folks that are working in the banks, the daycare workers. We can't forget about the daycare workers that are there every day helping these people that are the first responders and healthcare providers and grocery store providers and bankers that have to go to work and support us and help us. Those daycare workers are there and taking care of their kids every day. So we thank them as well. And as we say every day, just stay home, stay calm, stay informed. And you can stay informed by going to mass.gov /COVID-19. You can ask questions by calling 211. You can get alerts by texting COVID MA to 888-777. And if you have any health questions, go on buoy.com /mass. And again, the more we come together by staying apart, the quicker we'll get back to the people that we love and the things we love to do. So thank you again to you, Steve, and to PAC TV. And we'll see you on Monday.
Thank you. That was State Representative Matthew Muratore. And as he said, stay informed. One of the ways you can do that is tune in every day at noon, Monday through Saturday, and you'll hear Selectman Chair Kenneth Tavares giving a daily update on things that have happened just since the previous day. Ken, your closing statement for today.
Thank you, Steve. We live in an amazing community, as been demonstrated during this broadcast. So many people are doing good things with little recognition, but adding up to being, major achievements and helpful to the citizens of this community. I want to thank our town manager, her staff, all of the town employees that are working from home to keep this government running as best as possible. Questions are coming in to being asked they're being answered as quickly as possible. I want to thank the Board of Selectmen. I'm the one that gets to go on the camera, but there are 4 members of the Board of Selectmen that are assisting and aiding the town manager on a daily basis. And they're doing the quiet work, but very important work that needs to be done. Major decisions will be made in the next few weeks. And when you tune into our meeting week after next, you'll see some of the decisions that have been put at the doorstep of the town. And repeating what others have said today, we know that people are getting tired. It certainly is taking a toll on families, individuals, and we see it every day. So this weekend, take a little bit of time for yourself. It's okay. Go somewhere, take 15, 20 minutes, half hour, an hour, whatever you need to recharge. You know, you're going to be needed in the weeks coming up, and it's okay to be a little bit grumpy and maybe a little bit tired, but take some time this weekend for yourself. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay informed. And as a notable on TV has said, let's just be kind to one another. Thank you, and hopefully you have a good weekend with some rest. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Selectman Chair Kenneth Tavares. Good words to remember each day. He joins us along with Representative Matthew Muratore. We want to thank him and the panel participants, Michael Jackman, who is on staff at Congressman Keating's office, and also Michelle Bratti, the Director of Elder Affairs. On Monday, again, Ken, Matt, and I will be joined by Amy Naples, Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, and also Lynn Barrett. She is the Director of Finance for the town of Plymouth. We'll be with you each and every day, Monday through Saturday. I'm Steve Triffletti, Plymouth Town Moderator. Thank you for joining us today, and good day.